Are you a teacher of presence or are you a teacher of suffering? And how do you know? How do you know if you're teaching presence currently or if you're teaching suffering? My name is Elizabeth Cermak. I'm here with Prudence, and we are here today. Well, I am a life coach and psychotherapist, and I'm here to help you live less in fear and less in guilt, less in anger, and more in peace and freedom. And we'll see how Prudence feels today. Prudence is a Chihuahua here to be cute. Anyway, okay, so today we're talking about being a teacher of suffering or a teacher of presence. I'm in this 2024 School of Awakening with Eckhart Tolle. It started in 2024. And it's called Becoming a Teacher of Presence. And I just listened to him and he said this quote that just totally got me. And I'm like, I have to make a video about this. So he said, if you amplify the unconsciousness of this world through reactivity, you are a teacher of suffering. So if you amplify the unconsciousness of this world through reactivity, you are a teacher of suffering. And I just feel like that kind of almost summarizes the first few videos that I have put on here this year. It really reminds me of that video, I'm okay, you're okay. You know, coming from a place of I'm okay, you're okay. I think this is so important right now, because if you don't come from a place of I'm okay and you're okay, you're amplifying the unconsciousness of the world. Okay, so you're amplifying the suffering. And obviously nobody wants to be a teacher of suffering, right? And honestly, we teach through how we are, right? We don't teach through what we say necessarily. We teach through what we do and who we are. So have you ever reacted to something in a way with from guilt or anger or fear, and that you can tell that things just it just kept it going. It just amplified it, right? It kind of made the problem worse. Don't we see that happening in the world when we're reacting to things and we're keeping it going, we're giving it energy, we're keeping it going, it just makes the problem worse and worse? Or have you ever because believe me, I have been a teacher of suffering, that I have done this. I have been both a teacher of presence and a teacher of suffering, so we can choose at any moment what we're teaching, right? And we can always choose again, as A Course in Miracles says. We can always choose again and come from a place of consciousness, come from a place of presence instead of coming from a place of suffering. And most of our suffering is created by ourselves, is created by the stories that we have in our head. The other thing Eckhart's been talking about in this lesson, which is, I tell clients this all the time, don't should on yourselves. Don't should on yourself or don't should on anybody else. So it's this idea that things should be different, right? People shouldn't be this way. This shouldn't be happening. Life should be easier. It shouldn't be like this. And when we do that, we create so much stress for ourselves, because we are, as Byron Katie would say, we are wrestling and we are fighting with what is. Things are perfect, and I just said this to a client who was dealing with some issues in his life. I said, everything is perfect. He was dealing with some issues in his life, wanting things to be a little bit different. And it was a perfect thing to say to him at the perfect time, because for him, it really worked. He was like, oh my gosh, you're right. Everything is perfect. I wouldn't say that to somebody who's in the midst of something really, a huge, something where they're suffering or where they're in the midst of a big trauma or anything like that. I wouldn't say everything is perfect, even though that might be true on a bigger level. You don't tell somebody in the midst of a trauma that everything is perfect. This person was open to this and was ready to hear it and kind of had this belief already in him that things are perfect. Everything is perfect just how it is, even if it doesn't appear to be perfect in front of us. We can't always see the big picture. We don't know how things should be. Things should be as they are right now, and let's not fight against what is, right? So Eckhart was talking about this too, kind of accepting the present moment as it is, and then acting from this place, right? But not acting from a place of anger, not acting from a place of irritation, not acting from a place of fear. And I really believe this too. He doesn't mention this too much, but not acting from a place of guilt. When we act from a place of guilt, we keep it going. Have you ever, this? I did this when I was younger a lot, where I didn't even realize I was acting from guilt. I just was constantly acting from guilt. And it felt like I was never doing enough for people. Like it was never enough, right? But that was all self-created because I was the one who was constantly acting from guilt. So of course it was never enough. Nobody was asking me to do some of the things that I was doing. Anyway, that's another point. I took some notes, and this is not, for some reason my computer is not going down, so I can't see all of them, but maybe that's better. Okay, so we don't want to amplify the unconsciousness of this world. If there's something that you don't like that's going on, in your life or in the world or whatever, take a minute to get yourself present, to kind of find the transcendent dimension, find something bigger, to feel a deeper presence and acting from that place instead of a reactivity, because that is what you will teach. And have you ever tried, the other thing that doesn't work, and I hope I never come across this way, is preaching. Like, have you ever heard somebody preach at you and like they think they have all the answers or something, and it's like, that doesn't work either. So when I talk about teaching, I'm not talking about preaching. I'm talking about doing it from your inner state. I'm not talking. So really we stop teaching suffering by stopping our own suffering, by stopping our own unneeded, unconscious suffering. And when we can do that, we're not teaching it anymore. So, does it ever feel selfish to feel good? Who did I listen to recently who said it's an act of defiance to feel happy? And it really is. Like, do you ever feel like it's selfish? I think it was Pam Gregory who says this. It's an act of defiance right now, especially. I think it's been like I think that's always kind of been like this, but I think now more than ever, it's an act of defiance to be happy. You're defying. So when you are no longer going through unconscious, unneeded suffering, you're not teaching that then to other people to go through it. And you're not doing this by preaching. You're doing this just by living it and by doing it. Okay? So it's not at all selfish to find inner peace. It's actually what's going to help the world find peace too. So defy that, be defiant and be happy, and allow your suffering to leave you, because you suffering is actually creating more suffering in the world. It's teaching the world to suffer, especially the unneeded suffering, right? That we create. The stories that we have going in our head about how things should be different, about how people should be different, about how our lives should be different, about how we should be better. That's creating a lot of suffering. And it's not selfish to let that go. It's not selfish to feel good in the moment. It's not selfish to be at peace, to find a deep peace within yourself. It doesn't mean that you don't care about others who are suffering. It actually means that you do care. And you're finding the peace within yourself so you can, and then you're indirectly teaching that to others. Okay, I hope this was helpful today. I had to bring Prudence along for the ride. Okay, I hope this was helpful. Go ahead and subscribe if you found this helpful, and if you want some more, and if you want to be notified when I put up more videos about letting go of fear, letting go of guilt, letting go of anger this year, and living more in peace and freedom.